Okay, so can you hear me too, or is it just... It says that it... So, welcome to this introduction meeting. Trying to make sure that all the... Yeah, it seems like the streaming is working too. So, I'm Jesper Andersson, and I'm the responsible teacher for this course in software architecture. Most of you study this course in the third year, so it makes some assumptions about your prior knowledge that you have obtained from other courses. To a large extent, it is up to you to study in this course, because we flip the classroom a bit, which means that we will provide you with lots of opportunities for asking questions and discussions. But on the other hand, we will not spend more time on lecturing live as today after this introduction meeting. So I will tell you a little bit more about the setup in a few minutes. So if you look at the setup, it is pretty much a 50-50 division of theoretical and practical. It means that for a 7.5 course, your workload is approximately 200 hours. And a 50-50 means that you should spend, 100 hours on the theoretical part and something like 100 on the practical part. The load is not 50-50 throughout the course. It means that we spend more on theory in the beginning of the course, and then gradually we shift more to the practical side in the last 5-6 weeks. If you look at the examination, there is a home exam, which primarily focuses on the theoretical aspects of this topic, and there is a number of assignments. Some assignments are individual, others are, it's okay to do them in groups, and it's even recommended to do them in groups, 2 by 2 at least. And then we have the self-study, and as you see, it's a large part of this study. It doesn't mean that there will not be teaching. There will be a lot of teaching, but it will be more driven by you, not by a teacher lecturing. It will be you that study and prepare questions and take part and participate in discussions. So together we do this, and hopefully you will find this course interesting and also understand how important the topic is for large-scale software development. So in the syllabi for the course, there are some objectives, and these are pretty much straightforward. Understand the concepts, understand how you can apply these concepts for design and evaluation of software systems. Put this in a context of design principles, and then also how to document your architecture designs. There is also some more application-oriented parts of the course. That is, can software architecture play a role in other parts of the software development process than software design. And as you will see, yes, there are a couple of use cases for architecture in other parts of a software process. So content-wise, there is an introduction to the concepts and also to the general challenge of designing software at different levels. We will provide an overview for different techniques that you can use to visualize your architectures and also to document them, to be able to more easily communicate them to various stakeholders that have an interest in the architecture and the system the architecture reflects. We talk about architectural styles and patterns, which is a way to package and reuse knowledge about how to organize your architectures. For software reuse, we focus on software product lines, which is a success story of software architecture that has been more and more widely adopted in many different industries, not just the software industry, but in various industries, for instance, the car manufacturers, etc. And one of the more important parts of the content is how to go about with this design and evaluation to come up with an architecture for the system that you're about to develop. So, if we should summarize the course in one slide, it's this one. We all know that when we design something, we have options. So these design options can be, just a few of them, but there can also be thousands of options. And as we make decisions about these options, we constrain the number of available options. So what do I mean here? Well, just to exemplify, think of a very simple program. A programming exercise from your first programming course, where you have the task to design an algorithm that does something. Doesn't really matter what. But it does something, it processes some data. So what do you do when you design that application? Because that is what you do. You design, even if you start programming immediately, you actually make some design, not on paper, but up here. Well, typically you start to think about, okay, how do we get the data? Is it manual input? The user that enters the input? Or is it the file input? Design options. You see? If you pick one, you constrain the options you have at hand for the rest of the application. Another decision is how to store data. If you have manual input, well, you need some data structure where you store the input. But if you have a file, you don't need to read in the file. You can actually process the data in the file. So these are just some examples where you have design options and where you make decisions, and these decisions constrain other decisions, but it also very important to remember that these decisions will actually decide the functionality of the application and also some of the qualities, for instance, performance, usability, etc. So, software architecture is an activity that supports decision making. And it's not just the smallest decisions you make as a programmer, or if you're responsible for a class and you design your methods and algorithms inside them and so on. These are the decisions that impact a large part of the entire system. So, for example, think about security. Security is an important concern in many of today's systems because they are like open, connected, multiple users, etc. So security is a great concern for these systems. But if you have a large system, you can't say that, okay, here's the secure component. This is the component, this is the part of the system that gives us security. Security is something that is reflected throughout the system. Large parts of the system must behave in a certain way and able to achieve security. So, in these large development projects that involves tens or hundreds of people, these decisions are distributed. But some decisions must be made at a different level, because these decisions will constrain all other decisions in the project. So the architecture decisions are the decisions that affect a large part or the entire system. So software architecture is about supporting the decision making and documenting the decisions for various stakeholders. Okay, so that was it. Now we can continue and look more at the setup for this year's instance of this course. We have recorded lectures, and these lectures are 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's more or less, we just take a regular lecture and chop it up into parts. It's more for your convenience. For us, it's more work. But then we focus instead on meeting you in smaller groups and give you lots of opportunities to ask questions, to discuss in these groups and so on. We also provide fairly detailed reading instructions and a study guide. Because at the end of the day, I can't learn for you. You have to learn yourself. You have to study. If we say that 200 hours is needed, 200 hours is needed, at least. Some may need 250. Some may pass in 175, but still, it's something around 200 hours that you have to invest in this course. But we will provide you guidance for this, and we will also help you through the tutoring discussions, but we will also be available, of course, on the Slack channel or in the My Moodle forum. We also have a case study that will give you some guidance for the practical aspects of the course. It will not be comprehensive, but it will give you some pointers to key problems and their solutions. And for the examination, we have as I said, 5 assignments and a home exam. And this is different compared to last year. If we have some students from last year listening, there is an additional assignment. For you guys, it doesn't change because you can choose to either do the 5 new assignments or you just finish the assignments you have remaining from last year. Okay, here's a very important slide. The book. The book, Software Architecture in Practice, is the key source for information here. This is the book that we provide reading instructions for. This is the book on which we base the whole structure of the course. I always get the question, do you need a book? And I say yes. And then some say, but I never ever needed a book before. And I say, okay, but now you probably need one. So try to get hold of this one. If it's not available as a hard copy, I know you can get it from Amazon as an ebook easily. Just want to say that without the book, you will have to invest a lot of time finding the information. So this is actually a shortcut in terms of managing your time more efficiently. So we divided the course into 7 themes. We start at the bottom with an introduction where we focus on the concepts that software architecture covers. We discuss the usefulness or where you can apply software architecture. We also take the first staggering steps into how to use software architecture for design tasks. The second theme is on architecture requirements. These are the requirements that require these overarching decisions. Requirements that is a concern for large parts or the entire system. These are a little bit special compared to other types of requirements, but so we cover them in a separate theme. Then we focus on documentation with viewpoints and views. And then we move more towards architecture design. And we start with reference architectures, architecture patterns and styles. The idea here is that you will see a toolbox to recognize certain design problems and their solutions. The same is for the theme on tactics, which is a similar thing to architectural patterns. However, its focus is more on behavior in the system. Reasoning is the activity where you compare, analyze design options. You trade one option for another. You trade performance for security. You trade security for usability, etc., to achieve some good enough system, because that's what the users want. And then, well, the 7th theme is on different applications of software architecture. And, well, the setup, as I said, recordings, read ask questions, discuss. This is the case study. It will be published this week. Tutoring workshops, Q&A, also questions for the assignments. We have 6 one-hour opportunities starting this week. Small groups. You have to register. There is a Google Sheet that you just enter your name in a slot. Wednesdays here in Växjö and in a Zoom classroom, and Thursdays in Kalmar and Zoom. So there will be an opportunity for all of you to participate. Don't sign up for more than 1 slot per week because it can be pretty crowded. And then I would appreciate if you fill 1 slot before you start to start another one, because for me it's much more efficient if there are 6, 7 students in the group compared to just 1, because discussions between students is an important component here. So, in order to pass, I should have put up the dates here. Well, yeah, they are there. Okay. So we have the first assignment I published this morning until next week on functional decomposition. Then you can see that, well, we have a constant flow of new assignments, and you're expected to submit them. Typically you get a week or 2 to finish them. Then we have a home exam. It's March 21 or 22. I will make a decision because usually if I ask you guys 21 or 22, there will be a 50-50, so it doesn't really matter. But it's 21 or 22 because I'm traveling that weekend, so I'm not really. I want to be somewhere where I can connect for your questions and so on. But I will come back with a decision next week at the latest. So please make a note in the calendar that either the Saturday or Sunday this weekend we will have the home exam. Okay. No, the home exam will not be multiple choice questions only. I got a question here online. There might be one part with multiple choices, but there will definitely be a part where you're expected to write down answers and submit them more like essay style questions. Could even be a small design activity in there. But I will tell you more, and you will see examples of these essay-like questions in good time to prepare for the exam. Yeah, Slack channel. This is where I can spend like some time in the morning maybe, and sometime in the afternoon. I'm not able to be have like a 5-minute response time here, so you have to bear with me. I have, believe it or not, other things to do than this course, and I know that you have too. But it's a channel, an open channel, so if someone asks a question, don't hesitate. If you have the answer, provide it. Same with the Moodle rooms. If you have a question, you can put it in both the Slack channel and the Moodle forum. Well, sometimes if I have a question that I answer in Slack, I may copy it over to the forum just to keep it there a little bit easier to access that way. YouTube, haven't decided on the channel yet. We will publish the recordings later this week. The reason for that is that I really want to push you guys to start reading the book. Don't rely on lectures. They will not be enough. They will definitely not be enough. You will not find all the answers to the assignments in the lectures. You have to study the other materials as well. Okay, so this was the introduction lecture. What should you do now? Well, you should do exactly this. You should start studying. You should get hold of the book. You should have a look at the study guide, start reading, start answering the questions. When the lectures are published, you can start watching them. You can have a look at the assignment. In the study guide, there is an approximation or an estimate of the time you need to invest. I would say that the assignment is not a full day's work. It's just a warm-up assignment. So if there is someone in the room who hasn't registered yet or can't register because you're conditionally admitted, send me an email where you collect information, you argue why you should be admitted. I'm not too difficult to convince, but there should be some realistic chance for you guys to finish. And sometimes it's, if you have too many courses that are unfinished, sometimes it can be finish them before you start new courses, because there is a chance or a risk that the number of unfinished courses will grow and grow and grow and grow. So drop me an email and we'll sort it out. Plan is to do it today, tomorrow, so the sooner you send me the information, the better. And then remember this. It's all about the decisions you make, the decisions that are overarching the entire application or system you're developing. It's about making those decisions, communicating decisions to different stakeholders, and this is what you're going to learn the next 10 weeks. So that was it, and so the reason why we have the home exam on a weekend is that we have distance learning students that work. And it's not too uncommon to have an exam during the weekend. So that's the reason. And since you get, yep.
It's another question.
Okay, and now you have it's 2 months away, so you should be able to plan for that. Okay, another question. I will repeat the questions from the room here. Okay.
Is it the workshops based on the study guide questions?
The question was if the workshops are based on the questions in the study guide. And I can say the questions in the study guide is the fallback.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not that we're going to provide answers to the questions during these sessions. The questions in the study guide is for you to work with, hopefully these will generate more questions. Those are the questions that we can discuss during the workshops. When you do your assignments, other questions will pop up. You can also bring them up during the workshops. If you have questions regarding anything related to software architecture, just ask them during the workshop. So the reason why we provide the questions here is that we want to, well, kick your butts a bit, so that you actually feel that, here is something that I can use to structure my studies. And hopefully that will generate questions that can generate learning and more questions during the workshops. So we have a question here about mapping each theme to the book chapters. If you go to the study guide, you will find exactly that. There is a set of chapter references in the study guide, and also rather detailed instructions for where you should put your focus and parts you can read more cursory. Do we have more? Yeah, another question?
The workshop, they are not mandatory, right?
Nothing is mandatory.
Always
Examination is not mandatory. Yeah, but nothing is mandatory. That's the. But it's up to you to make your own decisions. What I can say is that last year, I would say the pass rate for people that attended all workshops was, well, much better than for the ones who didn't. But as I said, nothing is mandatory. The only thing that is mandatory is that if you want to grade, is to pass the assignments and pass the examination. But then, well, there's always this little thing that, well, you could learn more if you attend the workshops, and you can also, well, we support learning better if you attend the workshops. Okay, the additional lectures will become available later this week. I really want to push you guys to get hold of the book, start reading. If from last year, my experience from previous years is the following. If I publish lectures, you start to watch the lectures, and you start to look for answers to complete the assignment. And it's not just about completing the assignment. You start to prepare for the home exam today, actually. So that's why I want to push you to start reading in the book, because that will provide you with another perspective than the lectures, because the lectures are just like a slice of the literature. So how can you reliably assess us based on home exam that we do at home? Yeah, if it's a home exam, you do it at home. I have not had that problem, and the last 4 years that we have had the home exam, so I think that it's pretty reliable. It's not any different compared to the assignments that you also do at home. And at the end of the day, if someone plays the system, well, there is always a risk that they will be discovered, and there are more ways than this plagiarism system available to find deviances. Okay, Do you have more questions? Yep.
Is it the home assignment, like you open for the entire day and then you have, let's say, 2 hours?
The home exam.
Yeah.
The home exam is open for, well, I don't want to give you, because it used to be, well, I think it was like 8 hours. So from downloading the PDF with the assignment, you have 8 hours to submit.
Okay. And then you have the entire day to do it. Like,
Yeah, you have that. So typically we open at 8 and we close at 10. So it means that if you start at 2 p.m., well, you're fine. But this year we have started to develop a one part that is more automated, like well, multiple choices and then essays. So if you fail the first part, you will not get a chance on the essays. But if you pass that, you can download the essay questions. So. Yes?
Roughly how long is the home exam? Is it 1 hour, 5?
No. As I said, most, well, it's 5 hours. So most students use something between, well, 3 to 5 hours, but you have actually 8 hours to finish it, because if you have an exam where you, well, write by hand, you're somewhat faster because you can write while you think. Here you have to use a well, word processor or something like that to prepare your submission, and for some reason people type slower than they write. But it's not a big deal. It will be a day of your life that you have to spend on this. Hopefully. For some of you it will be 2 days, and for some even 3 days. But yeah. Here's a question about the home exam. Again, I think it's a little bit premature to discuss that. But it does, well, I would say read the book, do the assignments, answer all the questions in the study guide, participate in the workshops. There are no guarantees, but your chances are very good if you do this to pass. But because, well, the idea, the reason why we have like a short window is that you don't have the time to look up the answers. You don't have the time to, well, chapter 8, book, no. You will not have that time. You need to learn something. And then use that knowledge during the home exam. Yes?
What will the assignments be like? Will it be like more theoretical?
No, the assignments are so the question here was, will the assignments be theoretical or practical? The assignments are practical. It would actually be, well, here's a design problem, show that you have learned how to do this, well, how to make or how to document or how to represent or how to reason about this or that architectural decision.
But it's more like writing a report than programming.
It's more, there's no programming. It's more like a design exercise. We assume that you have a good knowledge of UML. We assume that you have a good knowledge of object-oriented analysis and design. Those are all in the prerequisites for the course. If you feel that, what is he talking about? You better go back to your previous classes on object-oriented modeling and design or analysis and design or something like that, and refresh that knowledge, because, well, you need that now. Okay, are we done? Okay. So get off on the right foot and get the book, start working, and then I see you guys on Wednesday or Thursday. Okay? See, and now we close this down.